What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off with macro data, this evening we have services and composite data. Current forecast is 51.8 and 51. In both cases, anything above 50 shows more of an expansion. Anything below 50 shows more of a contraction starting to occur. Aside from that, on Thursday, we have inflation year over year and month over month, as well as PPI. So market most likely, especially based on some of the comments from the standing committee recently, the market's going to take all of this for face value. So if something is positive, then the market is going to treat it as positive, not kind of indirectly spin it as a negative or vice versa to justify stimulus, because the standing committee really shut that optimism down. So in general, inflation, if it comes in a little bit lower than the forecast, then you could see a nice pop higher. As per usual, NIO does get moved through algorithmic trading, so there's a lot of big data coming out from the States this week, so don't be surprised if, especially on Friday, NIO does get moved around, because on Friday we have building permits, housing starts, non-farm payroll, as well as unemployment. So the market as well is going to be taking a lot of the data from this week and really spinning it to see what that means for a January cut. These are all the companies unveiling their earnings, nothing really crazy or speculative, so I don't see any of these companies really moving the broader market. So just on a FYI. And then last but not least, we do have this. So I'm sure a lot of you already have heard that Maduro has been captured. So I think it's fair to assume that oil itself is going to really move higher, but whether this prompts a market sell-off or not, that's kind of yet to be seen. So in general, that could cause a certain level of volatility. So don't be surprised if we see kind of a lot of up and down. So once I go over the technicals, you can kind of see some key levels. One thing that I do feel is going to really move NIO is going to be analyst ratings. So far, nothing's been posted, but most likely Monday we should get, I would assume, at least probably 3 or 4 ratings because of their monthly numbers, as well as quarterly and full year. So they, in my opinion, really hit a home run. It's really unfortunate to see this type of price action that did occur on Friday. But for those individuals who have been investing in NIO for a while, this shouldn't be any surprise. It just gets beaten down time and time again. One thing that recently did come out, though, was an internal letter, because of course, why even have internal letters? You might as well make everything public, because that's how it is. But you did have Williams saying that they're pretty much going to be hitting their 1 millionth vehicle, and I think that's was a fair assumption, because looks like they're about 997. That was as of December the 31st. So obviously that was going to be coming. So that's a pretty big accomplishment. So I don't know if they're going to be planning to do anything special because of that, but that's going to be coming right around the corner. But aside from that, over this weekend, I haven't really seen anything crazy new associated to NIO. So like I said, I think just the macro data as well as analyst ratings, those are going to be the big things that moves NIO this upcoming week. Aside from that, though, looking at shorts, going into this upcoming week, 8.27% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 168 million shares overall being shorted. You do see 2 signs of kind of manipulation going on. So shares on loan being 69.37, number of shares being shorted 168. That shouldn't happen. So you have some signs of naked shorting, plus cost to borrow minimum is negative. So that does mean that there are brokers out there physically paying people to short NIO. So you kind of have 2 sketchy things going on. And funny enough, shorts net did increase 829,000 shares on Friday. So they were very active, and yeah, that was one of the biggest attributing factors why NIO really did go down, as I explained on my kind of weekend or on my Friday video. But from a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around 550 to 6 by the end of this upcoming week. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 5 or 450 to 5. So there's going to be some extreme move that does happen. Clearly, we'll have to wait and see what does develop. But if you are a day trader or a swing trader with it at 514, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. So 480 and then 521 is going to be the next strong target, as well as support level. So just watch for those. Aside from that, quickly popping right back over here. So even though it did consolidate quite a lot from its recent highs of, what was that? That was 579, still did close above that 10 and 200-day moving average. So that 200 is sitting at 507. So that's going to be a key level you really want to watch for NIO to hold. So that's going to be kind of the first point. Aside from that, quickly moving over to the 1 hour, these are some levels as well. If you are, again, a day trader or a swing trader, it did close above that 10-day moving average. Similarly, that 200 is sitting at 512. So that could be a point where it does bounce off of and potentially test that 50 or even 100-day moving average. Again, this is if you're kind of a swing trader, so 523 and then 529. But quickly going back over here, some key levels to watch for is going to be that 50-day moving average, and that's sitting at 582. Even best case scenario, I realistically don't see that being hit this week. Potentially we could be having a nice kind of reversal where it does move a little bit higher, but I don't see this being on the table this week. Even if we do get a lot of bullish ratings coming out, it's still, NIO does get really influenced by algorithmic trading as well as just shorts. So it's NIO definitely is a frustrating stock, but as I've mentioned time and time again, as a gentle reminder, what happens based on the stock price and what happens operationally does not kind of link up all the time. Eventually, once a company does hit profitability, then of course that's where they more align a little bit more. But nonetheless, I do feel this week we will be moving up, just not to that level just yet. So let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below. Quickly going over here though, realistically, I do feel that we should be kind of between that R1 and the pivot. So 561 and 521. Realistically, I feel that's where NIO will settle by the end of the week. But it's just going to be the first of many steps towards it moving back to that $6 range. So let me know your viewpoint on NIO. When it comes down to this and Venezuela, do you think that is going to really impact the broader market? And if so, how? Do you think that's going to cause a significant sell-off because of oil? Oil, I think, is fair to assume is really going to go higher. One interesting thing, though, that I wanted to bring up is at the same time of this, we are actually seeing Bitcoin moving higher above a key resistance level. So this is a pretty good indication that people's appetite for risk is increasing. So maybe that could really impact and positively impact NIO and the broader market this week. So let me know your thoughts on NIO. Hopefully everyone's having an amazing weekend thus far. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.